So you can see here by this picture that I have some pizza, and you might be wondering, why is there pizza in our math lesson today? Well, you can see I also have two words written here. One of the words is part, the other word is hole. And this isn't the type of hole that you might dig in the ground. That would be H-O-L-E. We're talking about W-H-O-L-E, which actually stands for a different type of a hole. You can see here I have two pictures of pizza. I have a complete pizza that has not been cut. You can see I have a slice of pizza. Now if I wanted to tell you which word names which picture, I would put this slice of pizza underneath part. I would put the uncut pizza or the entire circle pizza underneath whole. So this is what we're talking about as in whole. It means nothing's missing. It's still complete. It's kind of brand new. Nothing's been taken out of it yet. So whole would mean the entire thing. Part means you just have a little piece out of the whole. So we've almost taken this slice of pizza out of the whole. So now let's talk a little bit about part versus whole a little bit more. I have some pictures here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag a picture right to this middle line. You guys say in your head if it's whole or part, and then I'll move it to show you if you're correct. So again, think in your head right now, looking at this purple circle, is it a whole circle or is it just part of a circle? If you said whole, you're correct. That is the entire circle. Now I'm going to take this green shape here. Is that a whole circle? This we would say is part. Let's take this pie for example. So think about this pie. Do you think it's whole or part? If you said whole, you're correct. Let's do the smiley face next. Whole or part? Whole is correct. Let's do the smiley face here. Part would be correct. Let's do the pizza. Would be whole. Let's do the tire. This would be whole. Let's do the slice of pie. Part. Let's do this blue shape here. You can see that's part of a circle. And then we can do a slice of pizza, which we already talked about, which hopefully you remembered is part. Now let's talk a little bit more about why we need to know about parts and wholes. You can see here I have a pizza. Now let's talk about having a party. Me and you are going to have a party, and we ordered pizza, and in order for us to make it fair, we want to share this pizza. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line on this pizza, and I want you to think in your head, you know, if this is me and you having a party, would this be fair? Would you want, let me make this a little bigger so that you guys can see it. Would you want piece number 1 or would you want piece number 2 if this was your favorite pizza? If this was my favorite pizza, I would want piece number 2 because it's a lot bigger. Now, when we're talking about this, we need to make it fair. So in order to make this fair, this line needs to be somewhere else on this pizza. Now, if I moved it over here to the other side, do you think this would be fair? Now, let me keep moving it. Now, I could keep going back and forth until you guys said stop. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this line would need to be as close to in the middle as it could be. And this would make it so that you and I would each get a piece that's the same as the other. That way it would be fair. Now this is something that we call halves. And the reason we call it halves is because this would be one, let me make that bigger again so you can see. So this would be one piece out of a total of, you can see here I have 2 pieces. So we say this is halves because I split it into 2 equal parts. Remember, in order for it to be halves, they have to be equal, which means the same size. So you can see the bottom number tells us how many pieces, 1, 2. The top number just tells me that I've taken 1 piece out of a total of 2. Now you can do the same thing on actual shapes, such as circles, squares, rectangles, triangles. I've got 3 shapes here. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to make halves. Now what we just did is we used a piece of, or sorry, not a piece of pizza, we used the entire pizza to show you, hey, we're going to have a party. Here's me. Whoops, let me change back here. So this is me and this is you. So since there's 2 of us, we need to have 2 equal pieces, which we would call halves. And we can do the same thing when we're talking about shapes. So if I divide this just like the pizza, we could split it in the middle and say here's a way to show halves. Now we don't always have to go up and down to divide it. You can also go sideways. But if you think in your head, did I divide that into halves? No, this is not halves because it needs to be two equal pieces. So if I move this line up into the middle, you can see that the top piece would be the same as the bottom piece. Now the last way to do this is sometimes one that we don't always see would be to kind of go diagonal, which would cut it into two of the same size pieces. So there's three ways right here to show halves, and you can see I wrote the word halves, H-A-L-V-E-S, and I wrote the number 2 because it actually shows us that there must be two equal parts to show halves. Now let's go back and talk about our pizza. Earlier it was just me and you that were having a party. Now let's say we invited two other friends. So now instead of just having two of us, we have a total of 4 people that are going to eat this pizza. Now we only have 2 big slices. That means we need to add a couple more slices so that every person can get the same size of pizza. So now what I need to do is I need to divide it into 4 equal pieces. So I'm going to draw a line going sideways here. And you can see now that I do have a total of 4 pieces. I've got 1 here, I've got 2 here, 3, and 4. The only problem with this, if you can see, is that those aren't fair. They're not the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this line to show you how we can make it so it's fair. If I move this right into the middle, kind of like a window, you can see now that I have 4 pieces, and we would say these 4 pieces would be the same size, which we call these 1 out of 4. Let me make it bigger again so you can see here. So this is what we would call fourths, because each piece is 1 out of 4. So again, each piece is 1 out of a total of 4. This is what we call fourths. Fourths. So again, 4 pieces would be fourths. Now I can show you again kind of the same thing with the shape. Here's the word fourths. I wrote it out for you. F-O-U-R-T-H-S stands for 4. Kind of like you can see at the beginning of this word is 4, the number 4. So it tells you it needs 4 pieces. So one way you can do it, just like we did, is make it into a window. And then a couple other ways that you can make it is we can actually make lines that go up and down. So that would make it, if I move these a little bit better, you can see that if I went ahead and added these, right now I have 1, 2, 3 pieces. So if I add another one, you can see that I have a total of 4 pieces. To show you again what I'm talking about, here's 1, here'd be 2, 3, and 4. And remember, to make it fourths, you have to have 4 pieces. So now I can do the same exact thing if I want to show you fourths. I can do the same thing going sideways. So this would show you 4 equal pieces. Now I need to do a better job of making them so that it's fair. So I can move these around a little bit to show you 4 pieces again. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. This is fourths. So just to review, halves makes 2 equal pieces. Fourths makes a total of 4 equal pieces of pizza or a shape. The last one that we're going to talk about today is something that we call thirds. So here is the number. We need 3 pieces. So let's pretend that out of those 4 people, one of the people got sick. So no longer do we need 4 pieces, we only need 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of one of these. And I'm going to show you that in order for us to make 3 pieces, we're going to have to use 2 lines so that when we divide it, it ends up making a total of 3 pieces. So you can see here I've got 1, 2, 3 equal pieces. Now the last thing that I need to show you is that this is called thirds because I have 1 out of 3. 1 piece out of 3 and 1 piece out of 3. So again, when we're talking about thirds, you can see here I wrote the word thirds. If you think about a race, if you get third place, that means you got 1, 2, 3, you're in third, which stands for 3. So again, a way to make this would be to go up and down with 2 lines so that it gives me 3, or I could also go side to side to make 3 pieces. So again, just to review really quick, halves, 2 pieces, fourths, 4 equal pieces, and then lastly, thirds would be 3 equal pieces.